What's good, people of the internet? Nick Banks again, yours truly for all things PlayStation 4. Today I have the great pleasure of delivering to you a review for Rise of the Tomb Raider. It has finally arrived for us mere PS4 mortals. Oh, and dare I forget, good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you may be in the world. Now, I don't know how many of you actually invested in the 2013 reboot of the Tomb Raider franchise, but it was absolutely fantastic. I played it and I absolutely loved it. And for any of you guys who did play it, then you will know that Crystal Dynamics kind of started to dip their toes into the idea of a free roaming experience. We had these base camps that we could sit down at and level up in. You had these really cool little narrative sequences just to give you a little bit more context around what's going on. And in the instance of Rise of the Tomb Raider, there's actually, I think it was around 33 base camps I had unlocked by the end of my first playthrough, and that little comparison right there with the last game where you only had about 11 or 12 should really speak to how this map, this time around, this game is so much bigger and it's equally as littered with things to do and challenges and optional quests and things to unlock. So in the interest of keeping things concise here, I'll just fly through them very quickly if I can, if such a thing is possible. So the first thing here is optional quest givers. Every now and then you'll bump into a person. They do have a reason for being there, but I'm not going to spoil that for you, and they'll ask you to do this, that or the other for them. Now that can seem a little bit tedious, sometimes it can feel a little bit like a fetch quest, but the reward that you get is genuinely important, and what you can look forward to as rewards then are weapon parts and weapon tools. And now these aren't just extra things to get the drop on your foes either, they play a part in so many other areas like puzzles. Weapon parts can involve pulling down obstacles with rope arrows, blowing up obstructions, or picking locks if you manage to get the lockpick. So it goes to say, unlocking these things and investing your time in these extra optional quests is definitely worth your time, as it will open up the map so much more. However, the hallmark of any good Tomb Raider game is, of course, its tombs, and players will have the opportunity to raid a total of 9 optional tombs throughout Lara's latest adventure, and each of them offers a fairly head-scratching, puzzly experience. Now, these puzzles are fantastically designed, they're really fun to run through, and while a majority of them involve yanking things down with your rope arrows, no one tomb is similar. Each and every one of them feel like truly historical wonders that you have somehow managed to find on this massive map as you puzzle your way through often gloriously lit and wonderfully rendered open areas. And cleverly, the game never traps you in any one of these tombs, no matter how far deeply into them you go. Even after reaching the solution, there's always a shortcut back to the main map if you look for it, so the game won't have you slogging all the way back through the tomb just to get back into the thick of things. And reaching the hallowed ancient texts at the end of these puzzles rewards Lara with new skills that she wouldn't otherwise attain. Everything in this game, including what I've just discussed, rewards the player with varying amounts of XP, and as a result it's safe to say this new Tomb Raider franchise is fast becoming an open world RPG as a genre. Frankly, it's doing a bloody good job. Other XP rewards can be found in hidden challenges, hunting exotic wild animals, or clearing an area with total stealth. And then there's all of Lara's DLC costumes that we've gotten with the PS4 edition, each coming with their own benefits. Yup, you got it. This is an RPG now. And I briefly mentioned stealth there, so why not? Let's get into the combat on this game. Now, in the 2013 release, the great reboot of Tomb Raider, Crystal Dynamics made the very bold decision of replacing Lara's signature twin magnums with a bow and arrow. Now, in the end, it turned out to be a very smart move. This allowed the developers to build a whole new kind of game around this one thing. And in the case of Rise of the Tomb Raider, use of the bow has been leveraged even further. The back of the box says engage in guerrilla tactics. And boy, it's not kidding. If you choose to play stealthy, Rise of the Tomb Raider gives you the tools to become a Lady Rambo. Lara can climb up trees and pounce on unsuspecting foes below. She can hide in the bushes and snap necks. She can craft bombs on the fly out of cans. She can craft poison and explosive arrows on the fly. Throwing flaming gas tanks as super molotovs, the list goes on. And yes, all those crafting things, you're not going into a pause menu for them, no. The control button and the mapping has been done to perfection in such a way that you can be running around getting shot at, and without pausing you can create yourself a cheeky little bomb there, or a smoke bomb. And the combat, to be fair, is extremely fluid and cinematic. It goes without saying there's no HUD in this game. So the overall experience with the combat still feels fresh after the reboot, and there's still plenty more for the developers to work with in future titles. Moving swiftly onto the graphics now, I'll just start with Lara herself. She looks absolutely gorgeous this time around, and no, I don't mean as a woman, I mean technically. It's easy to see that the most work went into her character model. Even after LA Noire, I'm still surprised by what developers can do with facial animation. During gameplay cutscenes, Lara's face is literally good enough to qualify for a full-budget animated movie, and I don't say that lightly. When you see it for yourself, you will understand. And sadly, all this effort in Lara only makes the other characters look a little bit subpar. It's not such a bad thing though, they still look pretty good. While it may be a bold claim, the same level of care and attention to detail has actually been carried over into the whole world design in Rise of the Tomb Raider. As you can see in this video right here, the environment is simply spectacular. Watch your footprints fill up with snow during a blizzard, or the gradual gathering of snow on Lara's shoulders, or perhaps the way that she also subtly shivers in cold environments, the way she sorts her hair out when climbing out of water. These are just a few examples of the many nods to realism that the game is packed with. Many developers don't bother with these things, they see them as extra little bits that are a waste of time and resources. However, in the case of Rise of the Tomb Raider, when there is as many of them as seen here, the overall experience is utterly engrossing. I just couldn't get enough of staring at the sheer beauty of this game. It's also great to see that the developers aren't jumping the gun on Lara's overall story. They're not pushing straight on to her being a completely grizzled, experienced Tomb Raider. They're still handling a lot of the Origins lore here, and they're still doing a lot of the setting up for the franchise, and frankly it feels very comfortable. They've handled it very well. Most of the fantastic story that we get here is told through Lara's perspective on doing her late father proud. As such, we learn a lot about what Daddy Croft was up to as Lara grew up, as well as the privileged background allowing her to travel the world and get all this fancy high-tech equipment to allow her to raid all these tombs. We learn all about her father's demise and the enemies that he made in his last set of inquiries. Setting up future titles very nicely, we quickly learn that Lara has unknowingly inherited an enemy. Her curiosity about her father's endeavours only stokes the fire further, putting Lara well in harm's way even by the story's conclusion. Even more information and lore can be mined from the Blood Ties DLC, popping you into a massive puzzle in the form of Croft Manor. As you can guess, it's filled with memoirs and documents from the past to get all that juicy lore. Aside from Lara feeling human, so too do her foes. Even typical grunts, soon to fall to your ice pick, have interesting conversations around fireplaces. They leave recordings and documents lying around. Sometimes they'll be talking about their own indoctrination into this fanatic merc group Trinity. Or perhaps some of them are having second thoughts about following this mental religious nutjob leading them to their deaths. And like any good bad guy, the mental religious nutjob is fairly well humanized. We learn his motivations, and we even get a little bit of backstory from his younger years. After the credits roll as well, there's still tons to do. You can head back to the main campaign map, collect anything that you might have missed, raid any tombs that you might have missed. For any of those players that like a grindy experience, everything is set up there for them to head back into. As I mentioned, players can look forward to Blood Ties, which is all about finding out about Lara's past, the motivations of her now deceased family. And this can be played in VR as well, which is pretty cool, but this is all about how Lara is deciding whether or not she wants to keep Croft Manor, because her evil douchebag uncle wants to take it from her. But most interestingly, however, is the arrival of Expeditions, a new DLC pack. Different rules and handicaps can be set with a card system, which is microtransactions again, but in the 20-year anniversary, it's almost as if Square Enix are saying, sorry, my bad for not letting you play this game for a year. They've actually given you lots and lots of in-game currency to spend here. Now, different players can team up in an open survival map in Expeditions and last for as long as they can in harsh, loot-filled climates. And lastly, of course, we have Lara's Nightmare. Everybody loves zombie wave survival, right? Well, now you get it with Lara Croft and her extra juicy, fantastic combat mechanics. And there is still a bunch of stuff that I haven't discussed with you guys, but I'm going to leave you to find all those things out for yourself when you grab a copy, and you most certainly should. What you're getting here with Rise of the Tomb Raider is a very solid, glitch-free experience. Enemy AI is fairly smart, the environment is absolutely gorgeous, combat and stealth is fluid, story and characters are engaging and believable, plenty of lore for you to get your teeth into, the list goes on. And if you never found time to invest in the new Lara back in 2013, even if you became a gamer who said, look, I've just kind of had enough of Tomb Raider back when I was a kid, stop cheating yourself of an amazing experience and just buy the game. I can guarantee you that you won't regret it, and every single one of those pennies will be worth it. Rise of the Tomb Raider gets a straight 10 out of 10 from me, and until next time guys, this is Nick Banks for all things PlayStation 4. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Peace.